Gul'dan versus Gul'dan.
Your soul shall be mine. Your soul shall suffer. Why do you fall?
Alright, so we're currently on Staz's perspective as Justnice's hand comes into view. And both of these players actually chose Warlock in their lineups. As you can see, we're starting off with what could have been a mirror match, but they're choosing very different types of the deck. Warlock being one of those classes that you can choose there's many different tournament viable decks you can use. And in this one, you have to assume if you're Justniice, I think you're pretty happy with this matchup. You'd much rather be playing against a Warlock Zoo deck than the Handlock mirror match. Things are getting started very quickly though. Staz is applying some early pressure. His hand is looking to run out of steam pretty quickly though. Sylvanas is an interesting choice. Don't see that too often in the mid-range Warlock decks, but should be very good in this matchup if it happens to come to that. Especially because Justniice is about to use one of his silences on this Haunted Creeper, it looks like. That is exactly what happens. Alright, we see some life tapping from Staz, trying to get some more action. Gonna take the favorable trade with this Voidwalker. And no minion dropped on turn 4. It's gotta hurt a little bit. Mountain Giant's actually coming down. Not the giant you usually see in these kind of aggro matchups. Usually not enough time to life tap to get to it. And it doesn't look like Staz has that great of a play this turn either. He can sort of like raw Doomguard if he really wants, I guess. It was really weak to Shadow Flame though, so he's gonna take this Implosion here. And he doesn't do the 4 damage necessary to kill the Mountain Giant. This Shadow Flame could actually potentially just end the game. If that's actually what happens. See what other options he's thinking of. The Kazan Mystic's an interesting tech. You don't really see that in Handlock too often either. But of course, you know, Hunter and Mage, very popular tournament decks as of right now. If Justniice happens to lose this match, which is pretty rare for Handlock to lose to Zoo, it could be useful against the Mage matchup. Alright, I like this play. It leaves the Imp Gang boss in an Imp, but it allows him to deal 8 damage to the Dome right now, assuming that it's still going to be pretty hard for Staz to get rid of this Mountain Giant. On board, he still doesn't really, I mean, he can Argus. I guess that's the best way, but he still has to sacrifice both of his minions. I don't see him Doomguarding into it, using 3 cards to get rid of it. If he Arguses, he'll still get another 1/1 Imp. It's not the worst trade in the world. How does he want to do this? Sylvanas is coming down. Alright, so he's not going to bother himself with getting rid of the Mountain Giant this turn, or even bypassing it. This Handlock deck is pretty teched out. It's got the Acidic Swamp Ooze and the Kazan Mystic. Very ready for those Hunter matchups. Interestingly enough, neither of these players actually brought Hunter. That's a class you usually see the majority of people opting to bring. One of the more consistent classes to bring an aggro deck to a tournament. Kazan Mystic coming down, not getting much value in this matchup, obviously. And looks like, based on the way Justnice's hand is going, Staz could actually turn this one around. Didn't look too good for him, but we don't see any Molten Giants to be scared of. Of course, Staz is not going to play into them. He's going to try to make it so Justniice can't drop like multiple Molten Giants in a turn if possible. But as a third-party spectator, we can obviously see that there's none to be scared of at the moment.
My shield for Argus.
Justniice does have 2 heal bots though, so even if there's a lot of damage on board, nothing too scary for him yet. He can just heal out of range of things. He's at 14. Which is actually, with 5 on board, with 5 on board, it's actually a pretty scary place to be in. Power Overwhelming plus Doomguard could kill him. So he might be inclined to actually play a heal bot now. or taunt or something. Dr. Boom's looking like a juicy play, though. I would say, given the both players' hands, it might be the best play. A little risky if he top decks Doomguard on Staz's part, or top decks Power Overwhelming, excuse me. Already has one piece of the equation there. Staz is dealing just enough damage to get Justniice to a point where he can drop a Doomguard for 4, but not have enough mana for like a Hellfire first or like a Shadow Flame, I guess. Well, I guess if he Hellfire, he'd go down and drop the Molten Giant for free, but Molten Giant and second Shadow Flame is off the table as an option. Alright, he is looking like he's gonna heal this turn. Playing it super safe. Hoping that next turn will probably be a good turn for the Dr. Boom. But Staz's hand is really shaping up here. Don't think he's probably going to play the Doomguard because he wants to keep the Mal'Ganis in his hand. Oh, look at that. If Justniice had actually played the Dr. Boom, he would have lost to that Power Overwhelming Doomguard for 6 mana. Crazy stuff. Knife Juggler Defender Vargas seems fine. Gonna keep the board clear. Deal some damage. Mortal Coil a little bit late to be effective, but here's a Dr. Boom. He's a little bit off of lethal, Staz is, with the power Doomguard. He can still have some pretty devastating plays. Justniice's hand is really unimpressive. He has a Mortal Coil, which isn't useful right now, Acidic Swamp Ooze, which is dead in this matchup, another Heal Bot, which he's probably going to have to use very soon, and 3 Taunt Givers with no Molten Giants. Definitely not what you want to be drawing into as handlock. I started out so promising. He had the board clear. Well, I guess that might be all he had, to be fair, but it was a good board clear. Nothing to complain about. How's Staz gonna play this? Not dropping Mal'Ganis this turn would only buff one thing. Gonna use power to clear the Doomguard before he triggers any of the knives. Interesting that he's not attacking the face first. I guess he might clear the Boombots. Alright, so he made up his mind on the last hit to hit the face instead of a Boombot. Molten Giant still costs a good bit. He can Molten Giant and taunt that and the Boombot up, but he's probably gonna... I don't know, it doesn't seem like a great play. Might Mortal Coil his own Boombot to draw a card and retain his life. Hitting that in Ruby and Egg for 2, that would just be really awful, obviously. Acidic Swamp Ooze comes down. Alright, I like this play. Sludge Belcher, that's good in this matchup. So we have Void Caller, Shadow Flame in the hand. That definitely seems like it could be very good. Which of these 3 gigantic demons are we going to see dropped right now? Alright, no complaining there. Although Mal'Ganis was the one he was hoping for, so he could drop the Doomguard and have an insane amount of damage on board. He is also only at 9. Like, it's rare, but some handlocks do run ways to burst the opponent down. We saw Double Os run Leroy Jenkins in the ESL Legendary Series Finals recently. Justniice does have a lot of mana to work with here. Free Molten Giant means he can taunt it up, play a Heal Bot, taunt that up. It's turning into a very tight game. Staz has 1 silence. And a lot of heat in his hand. But no way to really close out the game this turn. Especially because Justniice finally found a Molten Giant. That was very critical.
So many possibilities. Almost out of time.
Shields up.
Alright, 2 relatively giant taunts for Staz to find a way to deal with. Direwolf may help to an extent. Let's see how he works it out. I mean, he could always silence one if he had lethal on board, but he's pretty far from that at the moment. Jax is also an interesting choice. Not sure how great it will be in this matchup. He also has to be very concerned about, like, actually dying. So Mal'Ganis and Double Trade might be the play. Like, we can see Justniice's hand, and he doesn't really have a good answer to it. Emperor is way past his prime. And Sludge is alright, Taunt Giver is alright, but it's not going to answer Mal'Ganis by itself. And he is going to have to trade into this Doomguard. Okay, another Molten Giant. Honestly, seems like a pretty decent draw. You can play that with the Argus this turn. Oh, big Game Hunter. That's what he's going to play with the Giant this turn, I guess. Well, if he does decide to play the Giant, there's no rush, really. He could also play a Sludge Belcher and be very safe. But he's at 14 life, so I think he's probably fine for the Giant. Things are looking to be in Justniice's favor yet again. Even if he transforms into Lord Jiraxxus, he is not going to have enough life to survive this onslaught. It's exactly 15 on board. He's going to tap into a Nerubian Egg. That looks like it. Justniice is going to take the first game. That's awkward. Alright, so Justniice won with his Warlock deck. This being Conquest format, he can't use that deck again. He has Druid and Rogue remaining. Staz has to win still with his Warlock, which we know is Zoo now. And he also has Warrior and Mage. So besides the Warlocks, the rest of the lineups are different. Staz is running Warrior. I can't, Justniice. He's running the Warlock. It's very popular, but no Hunter, no Warrior. Very typical, popular classes in tournaments. And Justniice is choosing not to play. Alright, so we have Oil Rogue versus the Demon Zoo. Alright, so Staz found a very good turn 3 play, or turn 2 play if he coins it out, in the Imp Gang boss, but the rest of his hand is very expensive. Of course, Justniice's mulligan didn't work out too well either. He has the backstab, which is very important, but no coin. Everything else is 5 and above, except for Eviscerate. Staz has a Doomguard back again in his hand. Double Implosion. Usually that would be pretty workable in a lot of matchups, but in Rogue you don't want to get Fan of Knives that easily. Justniice plays the 3/3 SI7 agent just to get something on the board. I think we're probably going to see him Gang Boss here.
Pay attention, class.
Violet Teacher into Backstab.
I'm ready to learn.
Doesn't have to concern himself too much with the 1/1s coming out of him. Gang Boss. Weapon will take care of at least one of them. One of them will get a pretty favorable trade into the SI7 agent, but concessions have to be made. Honestly, it's early in the game, but this does not look good for Staz again. His mulligan wasn't as quick as I think it needed to be. This Implosion... I mean, it's not going to get Fan of Knives, which is the big fear all the time against a rogue player, but...
So many possibilities. possibility.
There's no real sense to implosion something with 1 toughness, and if he implosions the 3/5, it basically has to hit a 4 here. Three's not bad, but if the 1/1 kills one of the 1/1s and the weapon kills another 1/1, the other 1/1's not going to be able to finish off the Violet Teacher by itself, and the Fan of Knives off the top obviously punishes him so hard.
I'm ready to learn.
You got a feel for him after this mulligan, and now he's drawing cards like Haunted Creeper, which would have been great. Justniice says, you know what? I don't like this egg sitting there. I don't want Power Overwhelming to be a live removal spell for you. So we're just going to burn this Eviscerate right now and take care of all the threats. But, you know, Staz does have a second Implosion that does roll a 4, which is pretty timely considering Fan of Knives is gone. And he has his own 1/1s to contest the Violet Apprentices. Alright, so Justniice is running the South Sea Deckhand and the Dr. Boom. Be interesting to see what he wound up cutting to make room for both of those. A lot of rogues don't run either. Some run just the Boom, just the South Sea. And there's the Power Overwhelming that we could actually see played. Possibly. Might just, well. Alright, double Doomguard's not great for him. Imp Gang Boss Power Overwhelming. Justniice being at 28 is the real killer here. He has so much time to do anything he wants. Like this Dr. Boom just perfectly contests the board. Shadow Flame's not going to do a whole lot to stop it. Yeah, this is definitely on the slow end of the Warlock Zoo decks. But there's definitely an appeal for that in today's metagame.
My shield for Argus.
Alright. Defender of Argus play works out pretty nicely. Actually, we don't see a Blade Flurry yet from Justniice. Gotta assume with the South Sea Deckhand that he's running you know, double oil, double Blade Flurry, the whole package, but none of that yet. So this board seems relatively non-threatening, but there is a lot of it on Staz's side.
Pay attention, class.
And it's important that Justniice comes into a board clear eventually.
I'm ready to learn.
Hey, this is a pretty reasonable sap. And Justniice is going to be able to clear the 2 taunts with his weapon and the Dr. Boom. He also has Healbot. That's a card you don't see all the rogues playing. I did see it regaining some popularity recently with Mr. Yagut and Dog playing it on the ladder. It's going to prove pretty worthwhile in this matchup, I would say. Interesting to see how Staz reacts to this. We might, I don't know. Doomguard, like, it would be so good if there wasn't 2 in the hand, because if you lose them both off 1 Doomguard hit, that you have to crash into a Dr. Boomer. Like, it's just going to die to minions, so I don't see it being too wonderful. He's probably going to play it first, just to... He'd rather discard the Knife Juggler than the other Doomguard, for sure. Alright, well, he's going to play on curve and use his mana efficiently, and just hope he doesn't discard through the Doomguard. That was quite unfortunate. The 1/1s have no trades to make, no favorable attacks to hit. Going right for the face. And Staz is actually losing the race here, 18 to 23. I mean, sure, he has a great board, but that could all change very quickly with a Blade Flurry off the top. Also, haven't seen any preps from Justniice, so his deck has a lot of juice left in it. I have to imagine his draws are going to be more powerful overall than Staz's. Even though Staz does have the potential to have 2 draw phases a turn, he has to be cognizant of his own life total. And Justniice is still at a pretty healthy 22.
Too soon.
He's putting the pressure right on Staz. 14 potential damage. And it looks like Staz is probably going to have to hit creatures here. Defender Vargas isn't a bad draw. Probably one of the best ones, as a matter of fact. Yeah, that Defender Vargas could actually change things. He gets to throw a knife. Hopefully it makes some good trades, keeps some board for aggression, maybe even keep the power overwhelming in his hand. And with the taunts, Justniice can actually win this turn. He can do a lot of things. He can Loatheb, he can heal bot, he can maybe prep sprint if he draws a prep, but doesn't look like he has the gas to win if his board is gone and there's taunts up.
Almost out of time.
Power makes the trades a lot better. Might see that coming down. That pesky 1/1 imp was in the way of making the two best things taunts. Finally see a Blade Flurry though. How much damage does he have? Just 3 from the Flurry and 2 from the South Sea Deckhand. Still seems like a pretty great Flurry though. Well, on the bright side, Staz got to throw a knife and hit him in the face for 1. But on the other side, the flip side as it were, he might lose unless he draws very well. That's not going to be enough. He's going to have to tap, but there's not really much he can tap into. Staz is going to go down 0-2 with Warlock Zoo. He needed Mal'Ganis that turn. But even then, Justniice could always potentially just sprint into sap or something. Justniice takes a commanding 2-0 start to this match. Rogue has 1, Handlock has 1. Druid is the only deck that needs to take a game now. And knowing Druid as a class, it's definitely one of those that can easily take 1 out of 3 games. Justniice is thinking to himself, alright, I only need to have Wild Growth on turn 2 1 out of the next 3 games. Staz gonna switch to the Mage.
You asked for it.
Tempo Mage seems pretty good against Druid. Justniice already does have an Innervate though, so he's gonna be able to play with this curve a little bit. Staz's hand, I mean, this 2 Mad Scientist, which is a little bit weird, but wow, this hand is, it'd be great if it was symmetrical, right? Oh, there's the key card right there, the Wild Growth. Wow, double Wild Growth, Coin, Innervate, and Emperor. This hand is insane. He could have coined Wild Growth and a Wild Growth there. I don't think I would have minded seeing that. Be shocked if he didn't Wild Growth now, though. This isn't over for Staz by any stretch of the imagination, though. He does have a pretty solid hand. That Flame Waker can do a lot of damage very soon. Unstable Portal is unpredictable as always. The turn 3 Emperor Thorison. Gotta feel for Staz here. Down. Oh man, you really have to feel for Staz here. Mirror Entities and double Scientist. Windspeaker off the portal. Not great. All of the things go right to his face. This is actually kind of horrible for Staz. Like, there's no question that he needs to clear the 5/5. But even if he throws another spell at it
What to do?
and deals 2 damage to it, he has to trade both of his minions in. Both Mirror Entities are in his hand. We don't even know if he runs Counterspell. We can assume he does run Counterspell, but on the off chance he doesn't, That draw was just the worst in his deck by far. I mean, it was still probably the worst in his deck by far, but it could lose him the game if there is no counterspell.
Runs out on me.
And even then, you would just rather have Mirror Entity in this matchup right now. His opponent still has the coin. He's getting really weak minions off these portals. I can't believe none of those hit the Emperor. Alright, so let's take a look at the secret here. It is a counterspell. We made it. Made it to a counterspell, but obviously that can be just baited out with the coin if Justniice thinks it could possibly be a counterspell.
What to do? I must safeguard the land.
It's just so easy for Justniice to clear the board here. And Staz really doesn't have anything in his hand that can get it back. There's still no way in sight to deal with this Emperor.
For no one.
Alright, he's using the Wild Growth to bait out the counterspell, which is actually a pretty smart move since he already has the coin. The coin is actually more useful right now, I would say. It just allows the immediacy of fixing your curve. And it's not like Justniice is short on mana or anything. Hopefully this glitch in the view fixes itself in a moment. Not entirely sure why I'm getting the option to do something with Wrath. Come on, Blizzard. What happens if I pick something? Nothing. Alright. I blame Blizzard for what's happening on the screen right now. Fortunately, we can still pretty much see everything. Azure Drake's on the board. Ancient of Lore is on the board. This game honestly doesn't seem like it could go on that much longer. Staz still only has the Argent Squire.
Someday I'll be just like you.
I'll show them. I'll show them all.
Justniice even has a Keeper of the Grove, which is one of the easiest things to bait out a Mirror Entity with. Get some value in killing something that's a 2-2 while giving your opponent a pretty mediocre minion. And he has enough mana to like follow up with an Azure Drake and not really lose any tempo or any sort. Justniice is still at 20. He has to worry about cards like Fireball and multiples, but if they can't kill him, it's not that big of a problem. I fear that if I escape this game and come back into it, I might actually come in at the end of it. Should be easy enough to follow the action. Sorcerer's Apprentice, Argent Squire, double Mirror Image, the Keeper of the Grove that was just stolen, against a board of incredible mid-game minions. There's the Fireball I was talking about, but I don't think it's going to be enough to turn this around. Hilariously enough, Justniice can actually not play everything in his hand next turn. After 3 turns of Emperor Thaurissan, you'd assume you could, but still a little bit off. Either way, Azure Drake swipe is just backbreaking.
Feel the power.
Justniice down into lethal range if there is a Fireball off the top. The swipe should be good enough though. He has to be worried about a second counterspell. It's like such a low possibility of that even being run, but on the off chance it is. 6-3 to the whole team. Crazy stuff. And it is actually what's on board. So we're gonna see Justniice take a pretty, I don't even know how to describe it. Very unfortunate for Staz. His draws weren't on point. But 3-0 victory over Staz in this round.